You'll see that we have plenty of food for all of our guests. We start with our turkey, homemade macaroni and cheese, beans, cornbread dressing with gravy, black-eyed peas, and also some sweet potato casserole, homemade cranberry sauce, and then to finish it all off, a yummy pecan pie. Hey y'all, welcome back to Homemade Simple. If we've not met before, I'm Lori. I'm really glad you're here today because I have put together a delicious and easy holiday meal plan to help you reduce the stress that's involved in getting a big, important, festive meal on the table. I know that when we're responsible for making the holiday meal, it can really add a lot of stress to our holiday week, and I want to try to reduce your stress as much as I can. I have worked to put together this meal plan that is not only budget friendly and frugal, but also is going to help reduce a lot of the stress involved in getting that holiday meal on the table for your family. I know in the next couple of months we're going to have lots of opportunities for holiday meal times with our family and friends, and I hope that this video is going to be a resource that you can come back to and find some help and guidance to be able to enjoy a stress-free holiday with your friends and family. Let's get into the meal plan and talk about a couple of things that we need to think about ahead of time, and then I'm going to share all of the recipes with you. You can find all of the recipes written out for you to be able to reference down in the first pinned comment. Let's get busy making our plan and creating this delicious meal plan. We're gonna start by making a large batch of cornbread. This is for our cornbread dressing, so this is the first thing that we need to do to get everything in order so that we are not stressing at the very last minute. The recipe for our cornbread is gonna be 2 cups of cornmeal, 1 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna mix these dry ingredients together, and then we will add 2 eggs, 2 cups of buttermilk, and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm going to mix all of that until everything is well combined. I have those 2 pans heating in the oven. I put the oil in there before we preheated the oven, and so while the oven is preheating, the pans are also preheating. I'm going to get them out. I'm going to swirl that around a bit, and then I'm going to pour it directly into the cornbread mixture. Now I'm going to take a little bit of cornmeal and sprinkle it in our pans. This is going to prevent it from sticking. And I'm going to give that oil a good stir. Okay, now I'm just going to pour half of the batter in each. Shake it a bit to even out the cornbread, and then I'm going to bake these in a 400-degree oven until they're well set. It's probably going to take about 25 minutes. Okay, those have cooked for about 25 minutes. They are done, and I'm just going to let them sit while they cool. You don't want to work with them while they're steaming hot. So I'm gonna continue to do a couple of prep work things. The other prep work that I'm doing is boiling some water for my macaroni noodles, and also I'm going to shred some cheddar cheese real quick, and then we'll be ready to get into the bulk of the meal preparation. One thing we're going to do to make this as stress-free as possible is to use all of the appliance arsenals that we have at our disposal. If you have an Instant Pot, cooking your sweet potatoes in there for your sweet potato casserole is a game changer. Fill the insert halfway full of water, and I'm just going to cook this in my Instant Pot for about 20 minutes on high pressure. That's going to get these nice and done, as well as very easy to peel. If you don't have an Instant Pot, I'm going to link a few in the description box below so that you can get the best deal available if you're interested in buying an Instant Pot. If you are not interested in having your own Instant Pot, to make this sweet potato portion of the meal plan a lot simpler, just go ahead and buy canned or frozen sweet potatoes. That will take out a lot of the pressure from your meal plan preparation. Okay, before we begin the bulk of our meal preparation, I want to talk a little bit about planning ahead and some ways to try to avoid a lot of stress during your meal plan preparation. There's a lot of opportunities for me whenever I'm planning a big meal or a special event for me to be overwhelmed or stressed out. So I'm trying to think of ways that I can keep myself calm and share them with you so that maybe that will help you a little bit along the way. First of all, I have all of my meal written out and I have them numbered in order of the way that I want to prepare them so that I can get everything done in a timely manner without feeling overwhelmed or overworked or overstressed. Doing the things in a particular order that makes sense with the way that your kitchen runs and the way that your schedule is set out, that's going to help reduce a lot of your stress. Also, take out a couple of things that you can do the day or the week before so that you're not trying to fill everything in one day. And then lastly, I want to this year focus on things that are going to help me prepare the meal with as little stress as possible. And that means that although I really do like to make a lot of the ingredients from home and from scratch, some of the things that I'm going to prepare this year for my holiday meals are going to be things that are already made, more convenience items that I can spend just a small amount more on the cost up front and save myself a lot of time and energy and stress on the day of my meal preparation. So I'm going to use canned green beans. I'm going to use an already baked turkey that I'm going to prepare and heat in the oven. It's going to be delicious, but it's going to save me a lot of time. And as a matter of fact, the cost of the turkey breast that I purchased that was already made is about the same cost of a small turkey that I would buy on sale and have to prepare completely at home. So thinking ahead and finding ways that you can save a good bit of time and only spend a small amount of money is going to be really helpful in creating this stress-free meal plan. So those are a couple of things I wanted to talk about ahead of time before we really get into preparing the meal. Also, have some music playing that's going to be relaxing. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to be talking to you and I'm going to be videoing, but sometimes some instrumental music or some upbeat music that makes you comfortable is going to help you pass the time without feeling a lot of stress. Also, maybe saying a quick prayer that you will not be overwhelmed or overcome with stress might be helpful if that's something that you find useful. That's something that I have done this morning. I started this morning, things were not going the way they needed to go for me to be able to do the things I needed to do. So I just stopped, I had my breakfast, I said a prayer asking that I was not stressed and that I had things under control and was able to do all of the things that I needed to do in the time that I had allotted. And I feel a lot calmer and a lot less stressed already. Last point is start with a clean kitchen. I'm not saying spotless kitchen, I'm just saying get your dishwasher ready to receive dirty dishes, get your sink emptied so that you can wash things quickly that need to be reused, and get your counters cleaned off because the visual that you see in your kitchen is going to be a trigger for stress if there's a big mess. So getting your environment to a place where you are calm and comfortable will help you in making this meal preparation a comfortable and enjoyable task instead of something that makes you want to pull your hair out. So now we're ready. We're going to go ahead and go through our list and get everything prepared and ready to go in the oven. I have my cornbread already made. I have my macaroni already cooked. My sweet potatoes are cooking. And all of the other things we're going to be able to get done in just a little bit of time. So let's go ahead and get started on the bulk of our meal plan. And while we're talking about having a stress-free meal, let's talk about this amazing Freezimmer ice maker. This thing is one of the best little tools that you can have when you are having company, because having enough ice is always something that's on our mind whenever we have company. The other day I had company over. It was a pretty large group of folks. 15 people were here, and we had plenty of ice for everyone to have a nice cup full. Also, another great thing about this Freezimmer ice maker is when I plugged it up after opening the box, 5 minutes and there was already ice being made. I don't know how it did that, but that is the honest truth. 5 minutes, ice was dumping into this ice maker ready to be used. So you're never going to run out if it makes ice in 5 minutes. Even if it gets emptied with all of your company, you're going to have plenty more in just a few minutes. It's really simple to use. All you have to do is pull the ice tray out, fill it with water, and as it needs to make more ice, it will make a batch as it's needed. You can take it out, put it in your freezer so that you can keep up a collection of ice, but this is going to keep all of your ice needs completely met. The ice that it makes is sort of like a bullet shape, but what I really like about it is nice and chewy ice that you like to eat once it melts a bit in your cup. The ice that my freezer makes in my refrigerator is not something that I enjoy. It's too hard, too bulky. The texture of this ice is really good, and I really have enjoyed using it in my beverages. Freezimmer has offered a 35% discount code to Homemade Simple viewers. Make sure that you check out the description box below. I'm going to leave a link for you to find this ice maker, as well as the discount code that you'll want to use to receive your 35% discount. It's just right around $100, which is a great deal. If you go to any other store, Walmart, Amazon, and you look for a high quality ice maker like this, you are not going to find one for right around $100. So this is a great deal. Make sure you check out the Freezimmer link in the description box below. Thank you to Freezimmer for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to making our stress-free holiday meal plan. For the green beans in our meal, I'm just going to use these canned green beans I got from Aldi. You can just plan for 3 servings per can, so I'm going to make enough for 12 servings. I'm going to make 4 cans. These were on sale for 50 cents, which is such a great deal. You just want a pot that is large enough to hold all of the beans, but not so big that it is underfilled. So I'm gonna add 1 large spoonful of some reserved bacon grease. You can use olive oil or butter. I'm gonna cut an onion in half, and I'm gonna add that as well. I'm just gonna simmer this on low for the entire day until it's time to eat. That way they will be cooked down nice and seasoned, and they will be out of the way and off of the list. Now it's time to put together our cornbread dressing. I've got our cornbread made and it has cooled down. Got all of my ingredients set out, and I'm melting 1 stick of butter on the stove. I've cut up 1 small onion and 4 ribs of celery. I'm going to saute those 2 vegetables in the butter while I mix up the rest of the ingredients. I'm going to crumble the cornbread to a really fine crumble. Now it's time for the seasonings. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 2 teaspoons of sage, 1/2 teaspoon celery seed, and 1 teaspoon of ground mustard. I'm going to mix that until it's well combined. I gave it a little taste. I think we need to add a little more sage. I'm going to add 2 more teaspoons Some people like sage in their dressing. Some people despise it. I don't think there's anybody like right in the middle. So just according to your family's preferences, we tend to like a little more of the sage flavor. So I don't think 4 teaspoons is going to be overkill for us, but it might be for your family. So just adjust the recipe accordingly. I'm gonna add 3 eggs. Stir those in a bit. Add in these sauteed vegetables and the butter. Give that another good stir. And the final ingredient is going to be some chicken broth. You can either buy this, make this ahead of time. If you are cooking any kind of chicken, just save the broth from that. That will save you money and time. How much we need to add is going to depend on the cornbread mixture. So we're gonna start with 2 cups and just keep adding a half a cup at a time until it is the right consistency. We're looking for a really soupy texture. You'll know it when you see it, but this is definitely not there. This makes 3 cups. I think we can stand at least 1/2 more, maybe a whole cup more. Let's start with 1/2 cup. This is going to equal 4 cups of broth. Again, the way your cornbread turns out, how dry your cornbread is going to dictate how much chicken broth you need to add. This is about where we need to be. Soupy, but not like oversaturated. I'm going to pour this into a 9x13 Pyrex dish. Spread it out so that it will cook evenly. I'm going to cover it with some foil, bake it at 400 degrees for 30 minutes, and then I'm going to remove the foil and bake it for another 20. Now it's time to put together our macaroni and cheese. I decided I'm just going to bake it in the pot that I boiled my macaroni in. That's going to save me dishes, and I don't have a ton of 9x13 casserole dishes, so this is going to help that problem as well. I have cooked 1 pound of macaroni. This is way too much. My family really likes macaroni and cheese, so I'm just going to go with this amount, but if you're not feeding an army, you probably could get away with 8 ounces instead of 16. I'm going to set the drained macaroni to the side. I'm going to start with 3 eggs, and I'm going to add 2 cups of milk. I'm going to add 1 container of cottage cheese. Oh dear me. I wish I was filming a behind the scenes of this video because there's nothing stress-free about this morning. I'm trying really hard not to be stressed, but things just keep happening that are causing me problems. Okay, so we had to move bowls because the other bowl was too small and it fell out everywhere. Okay, so we have 3 eggs, 2 cups of milk, 1 24-ounce container of cottage cheese. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and 2 cups of shredded cheddar cheese. I'm going to mix all of this together. And then I'm going to pour it into my Dutch oven. Stirring it is going to be a little bit of a challenge because it's so full. If you don't cook so much macaroni, you won't have this problem. You just want to get it well combined. With this amount of macaroni, I think I'm going to add 1 more cup of cheese to the mixture. That looks like it'll be a lot cheesier. So I'm gonna take another cup or so of shredded cheese and just sprinkle it on the top. I'm gonna bake this covered in a 400-degree oven for about 30 minutes, and then I'm gonna take the lid off so that the cheese can brown. Next up, we're going to make some homemade cranberry sauce. If you've never made cranberry sauce at home, it is super easy and it also tastes so much better. I'm gonna add 1 12-ounce bag of cranberries. I've rinsed them and drained them. I'm gonna add 1/2 cup of water, 1/4 cup of freshly squeezed orange juice, and 1 cup of sugar. Just gonna turn this on to medium-low heat and allow that to simmer. You'll know that it's almost done when the cranberries start popping. Okay, let's check in on our menu plan and our list. Let's see how we're doing. We've done the dressing, the mac and cheese, the green beans, and the cranberry sauce. So what we have left to do is get the peas on the stove, put together the sweet potato casserole, make our pie, and then heat up our turkey and make our gravy. I think we're looking pretty good. We've got a little more to do, but we have made a lot of good progress. I'm gonna add some frozen peas to our menu plan only because I have a freezer full of them and I really need to use them up. So this is a completely optional part of your holiday meal. I'm gonna use 2 quart bags of peas that I had put up earlier in the summer. I'm gonna cover them with water, add a couple of teaspoons of salt, and a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. Just gonna put these on the stove and simmer them until they are nice and soft. The sweet potatoes are all done. You can see that they're still super hot. I'm gonna remove the skins and then I'm going to mash them up in my bowl before I prepare the sweet potato casserole. Cranberries have their own pectin, and so that's why cranberry sauce doesn't need added pectin to go ahead and firm up naturally. Whenever your cranberries start popping, that's when you know that they are really close to being done. Just give them another few minutes to simmer and then we can pour them into a bowl to refrigerate. They're nice and soft, which means that they've all popped. You can see the foam on top. That's another good indication that they're ready to be taken off of the heat. Now I'm just going to pour them up into a bowl and allow it to chill in the refrigerator for several hours. Okay, I've gotten the sweet potatoes peeled and drained. Now I'm gonna start putting the casserole together. This is gonna be super quick and easy. This is a delicious recipe, but it's really easy to make. I don't know why I don't make sweet potato casserole more often. Okay, I'm starting with about 6 sweet potatoes. They are pretty mashed. I'm not going to worry about mashing them anymore. I'm gonna add 1/2 cup of sugar, 1 stick of butter, 2 eggs that are scrambled, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I'm going to mix all of that together until it's well incorporated. I'm going to pour the sweet potato mixture into this baking dish. Again, my oven is already preheated to 400 degrees. I'm going to spread that out evenly. And now I'm going to make the crumble topping. To make the topping, I have melted 1 stick of butter. That's 1/2 cup of butter. I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of packed brown sugar, 1/2 cup of flour, and 1 cup of chopped pecans. If you have a guest with a nut allergy, you can just leave out the pecans. It will taste just fine without the pecans. It just gives a little bit of added flavor and crunch. Okay, now I'm just going to sort of spread this topping onto the sweet potatoes. Spread it around so that it's all covered. I'm gonna bake this in a 400-degree oven for about 30 minutes or so until it's nice and crispy on the top. We've already established that this is going to be a stress-free meal plan. So in order to reduce the stress on myself, I went ahead and purchased a pre-made pie crust. In previous videos, we've talked about how pie crusts give me trouble. It's difficult for me to make a beautiful pie crust, but when someone else does it and sells it in a package, it always turns out perfect. So that's what we're going to do today. I have a pre-made refrigerated pie crust that's rolled out, so none of my guests have to know that it was a pre-made pie crust. We don't have an aluminum pie pan to give us away. I'm gonna make our pecan pie in this glass pie dish and no one will be the wiser. So let's put together a delicious pecan pie recipe that's gonna be the perfect ending to a delicious holiday meal. I've unrolled my pie crust. I'm just going to carefully place it into the pie pan. I'm gonna take a fork and just press holes in the bottom of the crust so that it doesn't bubble up. I'm going to set this to the side and put together our pecan mixture. We're going to start with 3 eggs. 1 cup of packed brown sugar, 1 cup of corn syrup, 1 teaspoon vanilla, 1/3 cup of melted butter. And then mix all of this together. And then we're gonna add 1.5 cup of chopped pecans. You can leave them whole or you can chop them. I find that it's easier to cut the finished pie if the pecans are not all whole pieces. Okay, that's well combined. Now I'm going to grab my pie crust and I'm just going to carefully pour the pecan mixture into the pie dish. I'm going to bake this at 350 degrees for about 45 to 50 minutes until it is nice and set. Okay, we're coming into the home stretch. I hope that your stress level is really low. I'm feeling pretty good about all of the things that I've gotten accomplished this morning. I feel like everything is coming together smoothly, even though I sort of had a disastrous beginning. So if it starts out bad, that doesn't mean that it has to end poorly. We have just a few things left on our menu to prepare. One of them is the gravy for the turkey, and the other one is the turkey itself. So I'm going to start cooking the gravy, and then I'm going to pull out the turkey that's already made and already ready to eat. I'm going to go ahead and slice it up, and then we will be ready to serve all of our dishes. For our gravy, I'm going to add 2 cups of chicken stock, and then I'm going to add 1/3 cup of flour. I'm going to whisk this until it's well combined to try to avoid any clumps in our final product. If you have turkey broth, that would be even better. I didn't have turkey broth, so I just used chicken. It's pretty close to the same flavor. I'm gonna add about 1.5 teaspoons of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. I'm gonna whisk all of this together. Then I'm gonna turn on the stove and allow this to cook for about 10 minutes or so. I'm going to make sure and keep it stirred so that it doesn't burn on the bottom and start clumping up. Once it's thickened up, that will be all ready to go. Our main ingredient in our meal is, of course, our turkey. But instead of using a whole turkey that needs to be thawed in the refrigerator and then out in the sink and then stuffed and prepared and baked for a really long time, I decided that for this holiday meal, I was going to just go ahead and buy a turkey breast that was already prepared. This is from Sam's. You can find these turkey breasts at any grocery store. And yes, it's going to cost more than the discounted whole turkey that you're going to find at the grocery store. But it's already going to be done, and it doesn't have any bones in it, so you're not paying for all of those extra bones. Granted, there's good uses for the bones, good uses for all of the broth that you can get from those bones, but we are talking about having a low stress meal. And for me, the turkey is a very stressful part of the holiday meal plan. So in order to try to avoid any excess stress, I just decided that I was going to buy this, and now all I have to do is slice it, heat it, and serve it. I know that there are some juices in this package, so I'm going to open it carefully over my baking dish that I'm going to use to heat up the turkey breast. That way I won't lose any of that broth. And I'm going to try to slice this along the grain in maybe 1/4 inch slices. I'm already seeing that this is too small for the amount of turkey that I have, so I'm going to change this over to a larger dish. I'm just going to lay the slices out. I think I'll stop there. I'm going to pour these juices on top, and I think I'm going to season mine with some maple syrup. Just going to drizzle it on top. I'm going to cover this with some aluminum foil and heat it up in a 350-degree oven until it's heated through. Well, everything is finished. It took only about 4 hours for us to complete this meal, and it came in under $40. That may sound like quite a bit, but when you're talking about a holiday meal that was not only delicious but also simple and easy to put together, $40 to serve probably 15 to 20 people, that is a great deal. Maybe your guest can add to the dessert table, but the food that we have put together for this meal plan looks and smells absolutely delicious. Let's check it out and see what all we've put together for this meal plan. You'll see that we have plenty of food for all of our guests. We start with our turkey that has been heated up in the oven. We've made homemade macaroni and cheese that's sure to be a crowd pleaser, some green beans, cornbread dressing with gravy, some black-eyed peas, and also some sweet potato casserole. We also spent a little bit of time to make our own homemade cranberry sauce, which I think is going to be delicious with the cornbread dressing. And then to finish it all off, we made a yummy pecan pie. Well, I think that we have done really good and made a lot of delicious food really simply and easily with little to no stress. Even though the day started out a little bit difficult, we ended up on a good note and everything turned out perfect. Thank you for watching today's video. I know that you have so many delicious holiday recipes to share. I hope that you will be sure to share those recipes in the comments below. Thank you to Friesemer for sponsoring today's video. Please don't forget to check out the link in the description box, and also make sure to copy that promo code so that you will be sure to receive your 35% off. I think having that nice ice maker will make a huge difference in all of your holiday gatherings this season, and also it will serve you well throughout the year. I hope that you have a wonderful holiday. I love you, and I will see you again next time.